Hi everyone, Spiderman 1991 here, talk about my top 5 favorite heroes and villains from comic books. I got this idea for a video from earlier this week when two comic reviewers who I'm kind of friends with, who I've been talking to for the past few days, really cool guys, DarkAvengerC86, who's celebrating his 100th review this weekend, so you may want to take a look at his channel, and another reviewer who I just discovered a few days ago, Toxciity. They both did these their top 5 favorite comic book heroes and villains videos, and I decided to join for the fun. If you go to my channel and look under my bio description or whatever, should be a bunch of links to other comic reviewers that I think everyone should check out because they're awesome. And, well, here I go for my top 5 choice for heroes and villains. I'm going to start off with villains first. Okay, and as I say these names, they're going to be going from least to greatest, okay? So, number 5, Dr. Doom. I like Dr. Doom because he's got big ambition, and he's pretty much fought almost every hero in the Marvel Universe at some point. And on several occasions, I mean, he usually goes after the big stuff, like, I mean, not conquer, but he usually goes after the big stuff, like, not taking over the world necessarily. First, he wants to gain he wants to rather gain the power to take the powers of God, basically, just so that he can conquer the world and have no one else try to oppose him or even think about fighting him. And he has achieved, I think at one point he stole the cosmic power from the Silver Surfer, and I know in Secret Wars he gained the powers of God from the Beyonder, which was pretty interesting. And also, I think he's a rather interesting character because he is kind of good. He does have some sort of good ambitions, but at the same time, he does have good ambitions. I mean, the reason Doom wears that metal mask is because his face was damaged during an experiment he conducted because he was trying to free his mother's soul from Mephisto, and that caused his face to be horribly scarred and got him kicked out of college. But Dr. Doom is still one of my favorite villains. I mean, I like the guy. He's got big he's a genius, a big ambition, definitely a worthy adversary for any hero. And I really do like it when he's the main villain of a story, and also in FF. I'm very curious to see what Doom's real method for joining the FF was so that he could fix his brain because he was brain damaged, but now I'm not so sure why he's sticking with it, but maybe we'll see Doom's role in the Future Foundation series play out soon. Alright, number 4, the Reverse Flash. And I'm talking about the first Reverse Flash, Professor Zoom. I think he's a great villain because, well, for one thing, he hates Barry Allen, but he can't destroy him because if he tries to kill Barry in the past before he becomes the Flash, then Professor Zoom won't exist. That's a paradox. I'm sure I explained it in my Reverse Flash one-shot. So basically, Reverse Flash just decides if he can't mess with Barry directly, then he's going to mess with him indirectly by altering his timeline. And before Flashpoint and post-Brightest Day, he actually went back in time to make Barry's life a living hell, and he even almost took Barry's identity and almost married Iris West. I mean, and then years later, he once again tries to get Iris to marry him, but she rejects him. And so, about a few months after that, Professor Zoom returns and he kills Iris, Barry's wife, which was a very dark time for Barry Allen. And Barry was just completely miserable after that. And when Barry did find love again with a woman named Fiona, I forget her last name, but when Barry was going to have his second marriage, Zoom showed up again and tried to kill Barry's second wife, but Barry stopped him by inadvertently killing the Reverse Flash. Yeah. Basically, the Reverse Flash, I see supervillains all the time who try to threaten a hero's loved ones, but I think the Reverse Flash is the only one who actually succeeded. I mean, yeah, Iris did come back to life, but still, he actually did it, which is pretty dark, which was pretty... And he still went back in time to Barry's childhood and killed his friends, and he killed Barry's mom, and placed the blame on Barry's dad, which sent Barry's dad to jail to die. I mean, that's just really... that's just evil right there. And it's always an interesting thing when he's brought back in, when Reverse Flash does deal with it, because Barry actually did kill... I think now if Barry sees the Reverse Flash again, it might be difficult, because Barry doesn't want to kill him again, but at the same time, he really hates this guy. So there's really that conflict that makes it a good Flash story. Okay, number 3, the Joker. Joker. He's pretty much the perfect adversary for Batman. I mean, Batman always plans. He has a method. Joker, there is no motivation other than just to cause chaos. And I'd say Joker is completely impulsive. I mean, unlike Batman, Batman always thinks things through. He has a plan. Joker, impulsive. I mean, he'll just go, bang. I mean, he'll just take out a gun and shoot you. Yeah, and Joker is really the perfect... And also, Joker killed Jason Todd, which almost brought Batman to the point of killing Joker, and also Joker crippling Barbara Gordon. Even after all that, Batman still hasn't killed him, because there's 2 reasons why it's going to end, why this whole Batman versus the Joker thing, it's only going to end if both of them die at the same time. I mean, Batman can't live if he kills the Joker because of a moral code, but the Joker can't kill Batman because that's how the Joker defines himself. He defines himself as an opposition to Batman. In fact, even in the Emperor Joker storyline, when Joker had the power of absorbed the power of Superman's fifth-dimensional foe, Mr. Mxyzptlk, when Joker had the power to alter reality, he killed Batman, then brought him back, killed him, brought him back, killed him, brought him back, killed him in an endless cycle, because Joker cannot find it in himself to kill Batman for good, because that's how he defines himself. Yep. And also the performance of Heath Ledger by the late Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight was definitely my favorite performance. Was definitely my favorite performance of the Joker. I mean, Heath Ledger delivered a very realistic Joker in that movie. I mean, before that though, the greatest Joker role I ever saw was probably Mark Hamill voicing the Joker in the Batman animated series. But yeah, Joker is still an insane villain, and he's definitely the perfect adversary for Batman and one of my favorite villains. Now for number 2, Norman Osborn. Alright, well, you may be asking yourself why I kind of chose Norman over... Well, you may be asking yourself why I said Norman Osborn, not the Green Goblin. It's because there's been multiple Green Goblins, and if Dark Reign proved anything, it's that Norman Osborn can be just as deadly even without a goblin costume. Okay? Norman basically, as the Green Goblin, he made Spider-Man's life hell. Okay, I wouldn't say hell, but... No, actually I would. I take that back. He is hell because because Norman kidnapped Gwen Stacy, and then he threw her off the George Washington Bridge, I believe. I don't know. There was some debate over the bridge and the death of Gwen Stacy, but anyways, he throws her off a bridge. Spider-Man tries to web Gwen to save her, but he's too late, and Gwen Stacy dies, and that leads to one final confrontation between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. And right when Spider-Man's about to do the finishing blow and kill, and well, I wouldn't say he actually killed Norman. He can't do it. Spider-Man just can't do it. And right when he's leaving, Norman tries to hit Spider-Man with his glider, and unfortunately, Spider-Man dodges out of the way, and the glider impales Norman right in the chest, and it kills him. supposedly. Norman returned 20 years later at the end of the Clone Saga, revealed to be the big mastermind behind it all. Sorry, a little thirsty. And after that, Norman pretty much is pretty much the main arch foe for Peter Parker, especially since he knew Spider-Man's secret identity. That was something that I really loved about Norman Osborn, and I wish they kept that after Brand New Day, okay? I understand that everyone had to forget, but come on, couldn't there have been some loophole that people who knew before Civil War could still remember? That would have been great if Norman would be in that position of power, but he couldn't directly go after Peter Parker. Well, he could subtly go after Peter Parker, but he couldn't outright say, I want to get rid of Peter Parker, because otherwise, people are going to be insane. But I guess that would be too much of a crutch. It would just make it too easy for Norman to go after Spider-Man, because now that he's forgotten, Norman it makes it harder for Norman to go after Spider-Man since he doesn't know who he is anymore. I really would like to see Norman return to the pages of Amazing Spider-Man. Not as I want Norman as an Avengers foe anymore. I want him to get back into Amazing Spider-Man, try to go after his main adversary. Okay, that's all I have to say about Norman Osborn. Now for number 1, Lex Luthor. He is my favorite villain, especially post-Crisis, after they revamped Luthor after Crisis on Infinite Earths, because before that, Luthor was just a mad scientist who apparently had hundreds of secret labs hidden, and yet he still had to rob banks. That makes no sense. But after that, the modern Luthor, I like the modern Luthor better because he was a businessman, and he pretty much had what you would define money and power. He earned all his money and power through business and underground dealings and stuff. Back in the 1980s, he came in as a corrupt businessman, so that was pretty much the real evil back then. Now they're kind of bringing back the whole I don't think they're bringing back the whole mad scientist thing, but they're kind of restoring the evil genius part of Lex Luthor. And also Luthor, I find it interesting, the main reason Lex hates Superman, it's because he's jealous. Alright, that's the main reason Lex Luthor hates Superman, it's because he's jealous. And Lex always claims that, I could do so much good if it wasn't for Superman hogging the glory. But no, the main weakness of Lex Luthor is his ego. He's unwilling to accept that, Superman, he's unwilling to do anything good. He wants to be the best. He wants to be the best and no one else in his way. And he believes that Superman stands in that way because, he's Superman and Superman's awesome. But that's the main reason Lex Luthor hates Superman, because he's jealous. And the color of jealousy is always represented by green. Green with envy, which is the same color as kryptonite. There's a good metaphor right there for you. And, what else about Luthor? I guess that's all I have to say. So, quick recap. Now for the heroes set. Quick recap for the villains. Number 5 was Dr. Doom. Number 4 was Reverse Flash. Number 3, Joker. Number 2, Norman Osborn. Number 1, Lex Luthor. And now for the heroes. Number 5, The Flash. I like The Flash. When I started to get back, after the whole Brand New Day thing with Spider-Man, I started to read more DC comics. I already knew some stuff about Superman and Batman, and I read some Teen Titans stories, but I kind of want to know more about other heroes. And the first hero I chose was The Flash. And I'm really glad I did, because The Flash is awesome, especially the stories. You think with a guy who just has super speed there wouldn't be much story, but you're wrong. There are tons of Flash stories that are very good and spectacular. My favorite Flash, though, I would have to say, is Barry Allen. Okay, I like Barry Allen because he can fight crime as the Flash, and his civilian identity, he has a detective element working in a crime lab. So he can save the day both as a superhero and as a cop, which is pretty impressive. And the main thing and I read a lot of Wally West stories, but I kind of always had a higher respect I always liked Barry a little more than Wally, because Barry gave his life up to save the entire universe towards the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths. He gave up his life so that he could save the universe. That was an amazing thing, and it's something that I will always respect Barry Allen for. And it was truly impressive. And I read it, and last year around this time, what was it? 2 years ago, when I finally got Crisis of Infinite Earths, and I finally got to that page, I actually saw it, and I was very impressed. I actually felt for Barry, because he was running at top speed, stopping the Anti-Monitor's weapon, and saving the universe. That was truly impressive for me. And it was right after he just discovered Iris was alive, and he and Iris had many blissful months together, and they even had kids at that point. And that was the point where they had kids and then grandkids. I'm talking about Bart Allen. And now Barry had to give all that up so that he could save the universe. That was very impressive. I wouldn't say that Barry's resurrection negates his sacrifice, but all it does is just brings us back a great hero so that people of today can experience new adventures with him. Alright, number 4, Superboy. When I say Superboy, I mean the modern Connor Kent version. Yeah. Superboy. Why do I like Superboy? Well, because I don't know, I started reading comics as a teenager, and I guess a teenage clone of Superman just really appealed to me. Especially since he was grown for the purpose of replacing Superman. And he kind of has and it seems like Superboy had his whole life, this whole plan that he was a part of, but once he broke out of Cadmus Labs and went on his own, he kind of had his own plan. He would save the world and just be kind of like a celebrity too. But eventually Superboy started to evolve, and he got stronger and started to develop Kryptonian powers right after Superman sent him to live with the Kents so that he could have some chance at normal life. And also, Superboy gave his life to save the universe, too. Yeah, that's something, too. Connor I wouldn't say he knew at the time, gave his life to save the universe. It's more like he gave his life to stop Superboy Prime back in Infinite Crisis. That was still pretty impressive how he was able to go that long dealing with a pre-crisis powered Kryptonian, which was pretty impressive. Even though years later, once Superboy came back, he was able to fight Prime again, and this time help take him down. Also, again, Superboy is an interesting character because of that whole, like I said, being grown from Superman, being created just to replace him in case something happened. But no, Superboy decided to be a hero on his own. And then around the Jeff Johns run of once Jeff Johns brought back Teen Titans, he introduced that Superboy's human DNA came from Lex Luthor. So now that worries Connor, because now he thinks that if he had the potential to become the next Superman, he might have the potential to become the next Lex Luthor. And apparently Lex had some sort of brain... I'm trying to think of a good... How do you describe it? It's not a spell, more like a... Brainwashing, there we go. Brainwashing, that when he says a certain phrase, Superboy would automatically be under his control. And Lex used that to briefly control Superboy and kind of make him his own little Kryptonian. Hi everyone, sorry about that. My camera died and I had to replace the batteries. Anyways, back where I was saying. Superboy, there was the conflict of Connor's had between the whole Kryptonian DNA and Luthor DNA, where he wasn't sure where he was starting to become worried that he could become the world's greatest supervillain. But in Adventure Comics, eventually it was resolved, and Connor realized that genetics don't define him, and that he could be anyone he wants to, either Superman or Lex. But Connor still chose the righteous path, so he could become the next Superman. And that's pretty much everything that covers Superboy from pre-relaunch Now, let's hope he can make the same choices once again and become a hero. Alright, now for hero number 3. Batman. Batman is awesome. I think that's one of the laws of the universe. Batman is awesome. I like Batman because he's a regular guy, and he pretty much decided, and from seeing his parents get murdered, he wants to make sure that never happens again. So he decides to train himself to peak physical condition and mentally challenge himself so that he can solve any problem, any crime, and become the world's greatest detective. And since then, and even though Batman was just originally sort of designed as a street level superhero, he's become a founding member of the Justice League. He's gone toe to toe with aliens, demons, and gods. And Batman has pretty much proven himself time and time again that he is no mere mortal. Okay, he is not. He's got amazing skills. He's very impressive at what he does. He's very much the best at what he does. Jeez, I just, don't, kind of like Wolverine. I just used a Wolverine phrase. But Batman is just awesome, and although a lot of people just say that, Batman's so great because he has tons of money. No, he's not. No, it's not just the money. It's also his skills at solving crimes. It's his willpower to pretty much accomplish anything he wants to. That's Batman. He's pretty impressive. Number 2, Spiderman. My second favorite hero is Spiderman. Why? Well, he was the first when I started to get into comics, I started with Marvel, and Spider-Man was the first hero I really felt I could relate to. Okay? When I was a teenager, I started getting into comics when I was like maybe a freshman in high school, and I kind of felt the same way Peter Parker did in high school. It kind of awkward, shy sort of stuff. And also Spider-Man, reading the stories after high school, Peter was just a regular guy. I mean, he had the same problems we all do, which was money, girlfriends, other stuff. I mean, Spider-Man was pretty much like an everyday superhero that you could really relate to. And Spider-Man was pretty much a really great hero to me. I mean, even though he still had a ton of crap flown at him, whether it was money or girl or family troubles like Aunt May, she always had to get hospitalized a lot. He still managed to pull through all that, and even as Spider-Man, when he saves the day and he still gets criticized by the Daily Bugle and stuff, he's still able to pick himself up, put on the mask, and go out and do it again so that he can make the world a better place, because he's living by the lesson his Uncle Ben taught him, which was, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's something I really like, and that's a really great message I like from the character. With great power comes great responsibility. It's something that I really hope I can teach. If I ever have kids, I really want them to learn that lesson too. It's very important, and I really do appreciate Spider-Man for that. Okay, number 1. My number 1 favorite choice of hero is Superman. Superman is my favorite hero of all. I would say Superman is great because, well, he represents the best of what humanity can be. Not super strength or super speed or flight. It's his compassion and willingness to help people. That's what makes Superman so great. He doesn't need to scare criminals like Batman does. He goes out and he makes sure that people makes people feel safe because he's there. And he does so many good things for the world of DC. And Superman's just amazing because he helps people. He helps a lot of people. He even deals with stuff outside of Metropolis. He leads the other here. He's pretty much the guy everyone wants to look up to and should look up to because well, he's got this amazing compassion for good, potential for good. He's always willing to give other people a second chance, although I'm not too sure about Lex, though. And he's not willing to let this power get to him, all right? Superman never kills. He never really lets the power get to him. He doesn't really want to make decisions like a god. He thinks of himself as a man. And most people do see Superman as kind of like a god, but I really just see him more as a god. I see him more as a guy who represents the best of what people can be. And I think even without superpowers, Clark Kent, even as Clark Kent, he still represents he still represents the good things that everyone can be, and that's why I like Superman so much. Whereas Batman and Spiderman are guys Spider-Man is someone I am, and Batman is someone I can be. Superman is just someone I want to be. Okay, I want to live up to the same thing, the kind of good and inspiration he gives to others. That's kind of why I think of him as my favorite hero and one of my personal heroes too. And that's why I really think Superman's my favorite hero. Okay, quick recap again, just in case you decide to skip some of the video. Top 5 villains. 5, Doctor Doom. 4, Reverse Flash, Professor Zoom. 3, the Joker. 2, Norman Osborn. And number 1, Lex Luthor. Top 5 heroes. Number 5, Flash, Barry Allen. Number 4, Superboy. Number 3, Batman. Number 2, Spiderman. And number 1, Superman. And that pretty much concludes my top 5 heroes and villains. Thanks Toxciity and DarkAvengerC86 for the ideas. Again, check my channel. There should be links posted. There are links to other reviewers that you should check out because they're awesome. And again, happy 100 reviews, Dark Avenger. Here's to 100 more. Take care, everyone.